Hi everyone. First part of the video is all about the brilliant Cyrus IR14 remote control. As you can see, as soon as you pick it up or you press any of the buttons, it becomes illuminated. Makes it much easier to use, much more friendly. I've had this remote and the unit for a couple of days now, and I've been really impressed by using this remote control. Overall, I find it much better to use than the majority of remote controls that I've received with a lot of the hi-fi I've used over the years. This is a learning remote control. Now what that means is if you want to declutter, if you want to throw away or just store some of the other remote controls that you've got on a busy hi-fi or AV rack, this remote control can be used to program in other TVs, Blu-rays or satellite remote controls all onto this unit. Now I'm going to put a link at the bottom of the video to the detailed instruction manual for the IR14 remote control, and you can see detailed instructions on how you can achieve that. It has also useful instructions on the underside of the remote control. I don't know if you can see that or not. Let me turn that around the right way. So printed on the underside of the remote next to the battery compartment are a key essentially to all the programming buttons for the phono. So the Cyrus Classic Phono instructions are actually on the underside of the IR14 remote control, which is a really nice thoughtful touch again by Cyrus and the designers, so thank you for that. The numbers, by the way, correspond to the numeric keypad at the bottom of the Cyrus remote control, and the numbers are button number 1, that is the input button. Here you can choose which input you wish to use or adjust, so that number 1. Number 2 is warp, or the warp filter. This is used for records with discernible warps or that produce a lot of low frequency distortion. And I'll explain more about that when I walk through the setup in part 2. Number 3, button number 3 is MM or MC, or moving magnet or moving coil. So here you can select which cartridge type you have. Number 4 is gain. So you can adjust the various levels of gain on the phono cartridge. Number 5 is the resistance setting, so you can adjust the resistance for your particular cartridge. MM cartridges 47k ohms and MC cartridges various resistances depending on how you like the sound. Number 6, button number 6 relates to capacitance. This is more for the MC cartridges, and you can adjust the various capacitance settings. And number 7 is the store button. Now once you've made all of your adjustments for your respective cartridge, you can use the store button to store into the microprocessor the settings for that particular cartridge on the input that you've been working on. Okay, so that's the first part of the video, all relating to the remote control for the Cyrus Classic Phono, and it's an excellent remote control. Okay, part 2. This is where I show you the actual settings on the Cyrus Classic Phono. We'll begin with the actual remote control itself. If your unit is in standby, then you simply press the Cyrus button and it will bring the Cyrus Classic Phono out of standby. Now hopefully you can see that it's already defaulted to input 1 with all of its settings. Okay, so let's begin. Do remember please, if you own the older Cyrus Phono Signature or the newer Cyrus Classic Phono, these instructions should be the same or very similar for both phono preamps. When choosing an input and setting for a moving magnet cartridge, the settings are simpler and have less steps. So use steps 1, 2, 3, 5 and 7 in the instructions which I'm about to share. Remember 1, 2, 3, 5 and 7 for a moving magnet cartridge. Otherwise, if you're using a moving coil cartridge, please follow all the 7 steps I'm about to share. To illustrate the broadest functionality, I'm going to take you through the storing and settings for a moving coil cartridge, and let's use the example of my setup using a Lyra Kleos moving coil cartridge which I have for my record player. So first we switch on the phono stage which I've just shown you, either manually using the power button or using the remote control, using the Cyrus button here at the top of the IR14 remote. Switch on the phono stage, grab your remote control and let's begin. So number 1, so you'll remember that in order to make an adjustment, let's start with number 1, and it takes us to input 1 on the phono stage. You can see that, so we're addressing the first input or the first RCA input on the back of the phono stage. And what we're going to do is we're going to actually program input 1, but if you were to choose to address another input, you could just simply use the remote control toggle button, the right hand arrow here, press that and it will take you to input 2, input 3 or input 4. We're going to go back using the left hand arrow to input 1, and then we're going to press enter in the center of the circle here and select. Number 2, button number 2 on our remote addresses the warp filter. Now the warp filter, if you have poor condition records, it's really useful to take out that heavy bass. Lots of old records, and I know some are warped, but I will choose to have the filter on by pressing the arrow in the circle, or by pressing number 2 again, I can take the warp filter off, as you can see there. Number 3 is, if you press number 3, it will give you the option of moving coil or moving magnet. Now it's currently set at moving coil. If I again use that left arrow in the remote control, I can move it to moving magnet, but I'll use the arrow on the left hand side to move back to moving coil because that's what I want to use, and I will again press the center select button. So I've selected moving coil as my chosen cartridge, and I'm going to make the adjustments suitable for that. Remember, for an MC cartridge, this is where Cyrus really starts pulling away from the crowded alternatives for phono stages at this price point. From the comfort of your armchair, you can adjust gain, resistance, capacitance and warp settings for your cartridge, whilst you're listening to records and adjusting those settings as you continue to listen. This is also termed in the hi-fi world adjustment on the fly. This is a game changer for many vinyl enthusiasts who want to carefully and incrementally adjust their cartridge loading to its very best sounding settings. If you follow the steps below, you can use the Cyrus remote control and the rich settings options to dial in your listening to your setup, your room acoustics, and most importantly, what sounds good to you, i.e. what makes you smile. I don't know of any other phono stage which has the quality of the Cyrus Classic Phono and the user experience of this phono stage from any other manufacturer. Most manufacturers, unfortunately, are stuck in the manual and often fiddly dip switch world, where you have to manually make adjustments, fiddle around, sometimes even take off the cover of the phono stage itself to make any single incremental adjustment while you're listening, in order to make those adjustments, important adjustments, to the very best sounding setup for your cartridge and your record player. So Cyrus for me here in this adjustment and on the fly changes using the remote control. This really is, I would say, a wonderful new level of user experience. Okay, number 4, if you press on number 4, it will take you to the resistance setting. Now, sorry, I apologize. That's the gain setting, gain adjustment. Now, if you take a look on the Cyrus, it's currently set at 70 dB. That's my chosen setting for the Lyra. But if you use the arrows in the circle again, you can see that we can change that to 60 dB, 50 dB, or indeed 40 dB, which is the lowest setting. And normally moving magnet cartridges might end up around 40 dB. But I'm going to set it at 70 dB, make my selection by pressing select in the center button, and you will see it will take us back to the home screen, and it is set gain at 70 dB. The next button is number 5 on your remote control. So I press number 5 and it comes to the resistance settings. Now I'll take it to the base or lowest setting, which I understand is 100 ohms. So this wonderful phono stage can actually give you the option of 100 ohms, 150, 333 ohms, 500, 1 kilo ohm, or 47 kilo ohms. That's a lot of adjustment options for your cartridge, and you can choose the one that suits you the best. Now I'm going to take it back to 1 kilo ohm because that's the one that I've chosen for my cartridge. I'm going to press enter and select, which it's done. Number 6 is again another great adjustment for cartridges, especially moving coil. This is the capacitance setting, and here you have the options of choosing between the lowest setting at 220 picofarads right up to, and I'll use that arrow to take you up to 3 nanofarads of capacitance if you so wish for your cartridge. Now again, I emphasize that all of this is done from the comfort of your armchair, if you wish, whilst you're listening to your record. Now for me, this is a fantastic development because not only have you got the option to do that on the fly and make the adjustments so that you can listen at the same time as making those adjustments to fine tune what is the best sounding for your cartridge in your room using your equipment, but then also you can also store those settings using any of the 4 input channels for the phono player. So you've got not just one channel with lots of adjustments, but you've got all of those adjustments multiplied by 4. Now I'm going to take this back to 220 picofarads because that's my chosen setting for my cartridge. And I'm going to press enter. It's stored my requirement or my setting at 220 picofarads, and next button is number 7, which is the store button. Now it's going to ask you, do you want to store those settings? The default is no. If you press either the left or the right arrow, it will take you to yes, and I'm going to press yes, and that has now stored or saved the profile of all of those settings for input number 1. Now that I've chosen those settings because they sound great to me, and once I've pressed 7 and store, those settings are now saved every time I come back to this phono stage and switch it on to play another record. If you choose settings and store them, each time you select that numbered input, it will have stored your preferences and they will appear on the left of the Cyrus screen exactly as you have chosen them. This clever phono stage will do that for each of the 4 inputs, so you can have 4 different turntables with different cartridges and with different settings if you wish. To conclude, for this accessible price, somewhere between £800 and £1,200 in the UK, you can enjoy one of the most technically advanced phono stages available, within my estimation, the best and most friendly user experiences, regardless of price. And all of that, add to all of that the ground lift switch, which helps to eliminate ground hum and earthing issues which so many domestic installations suffer from. You can see Cyrus have pushed the boat out in delivering great value for our hard-earned money. I applaud the efforts of Martin Flood, Simon Freethy, Nick Clark, Stuart McGregor and the wider team at Cyrus Audio in extending the innovation envelope for phono stages. This genuinely feels and sounds like a big step for serious vinyl listening. Each individual functionality of the Cyrus Phono preamp may not stand out from another phono stage, but when you stand back and review all of the functionality and add them together as a whole, I think you'll see, as I do, that in combination it's one excellent package. This is a game changer in user experience and capability. I'm enjoying using this phono stage, and I appreciate the efforts of the designers, engineers and fabricators to produce this wonderful component for a great company. The work is never done, I appreciate that, and I would hope that the Cyrus team continue to learn, to iterate and improve the user experience by taking on feedback from customers, dealers and other users. Cyrus Audio, please do continue refining your current lead in all of these areas. Myself, I'll enjoy this Cyrus Classic Phono, and if I choose, I might explore the upgrade path of using the Cyrus IR14 external power supply. I can see that a well-designed external power supply might offer some sonic benefits. I'll see if that makes sense for me in the future and update you if I go down that road. As customers, if you're looking for a new phono stage or just tired of the hassle of using your current equipment, I would strongly recommend investigating the Cyrus Classic Phono stage. If you've liked this video, please consider pressing the like button and subscribing. Thank you very much for watching. Take care.